records, and then at the beginning of it, he's basically saying they are copyrighted, and if you want, you'll have to pay me in order to use them for permission. So he's trying to make money again, which is one of the things he's trying to do.
But I don't. Honestly, if he wants to make money doing something legal, that's fine. But what he's doing illegally is what he's doing with the eBay stuff.
Right.
And trying to get Joe kicked off. And he's told me that in personal emails, well, not personal emails, but emails on YouTube from the channels I had cut off, that his whole agenda was to go after Joe and get Crazy Driver kicked off.
Joe also says that you, in one of the videos, you told people to trick-or-treat his house. Was that because...
Right. The reason I did that, because the information that eBay is a joke had was already there.
Were you told by Ebayisajoke to say this, though?
Actually, I was. He said, why don't you go in there and make a video saying something about Joe's house. I was like, and I'm not going to, he's told me he would not put it out. He'd only put it on YouTube for like half a day, and then he was going to delete it, which never happened.
No, he never did. So in other words, you were totally blackmailed by this guy.
Oh, I will tell you. Yeah, I was going to get into that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Charles Finch completely 100% blackmailed me into doing a lot of stuff that he said he would not do. And then once the videos got out there, he left them up on his channels because he said, hey, look, you do these, I'm just going to leave them up there for a couple minutes, and then I'm going to take them down. He never did any of that.
No, total lying. So he basically lied to you. And now you were in contact with Doc, Ed Kuhn of Clearwater, Florida. When you and Doc were having conversations without him being there, like in the forums, I know you had an interview with Doc that was put on YouTube at one time. Did it ever occur to you that you think you were trying to really doing something wrong, or did you just have no feelings whatsoever? What were your thoughts going through as you were talking to the true accomplice to Ebayisajoke, who has now not changed his ways at all?
Oh, well, yeah, I had a thought of everything I was saying, and I knew I was not doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. But you still went ahead with it because you felt that you just didn't want. I always thought maybe you didn't want to be on the hit list because I know how bullies react to it. If you go against them in every which way, then you become the target, and you have become the target.
And that's what was going on anyway.
Right.
He would say, okay, I would say, look, I'm not doing any more of these videos. These are stupid. He's like, well, if you don't do any more, I'm going to put your information out. So, exactly. He's like, I'm going to put your information out if you don't make any more of these videos. He's like, because I don't trust you if you can't make any more of these videos. I was like, I'm not making any more. I was like, they've already threatened to put me on the news.
Yeah, and you were.
And that was when he was on the news like the next day.
Yeah, and you were afraid of that because I remember that in our first conversation, you did not want to be exposed. So that's, I think, when you finally woke up and smelled the coffee and said, "Oh my God." If this gets out, I'm a dead man. I'm going to be targeted.
Yep. And then he was on the news like, look, I was following you for doing these idiotic videos, really not being comfortable in doing them because I knew I was out of my character. I really didn't want to do them.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, Ebayisajoke said, oh, you enjoy doing them or you wouldn't do them. I was like, no, I'm not doing them because I enjoy doing them. I'm only doing it now because I want to know how far you're going to take this stuff.
And he took it far.
And he's taking it real far.
He's taking it real far. One of the things you've been accused of from both sides is flip-flopping. How do you explain that?
Yeah,
well, I mean, because you were there to start off with, then you came to us for a little bit because Pete talked to you a little bit, and we were saying things to kind of convince you that, this guy is not legit. And why would you believe a guy in a mask? And then you went back to him on account of something, and then, so.
Yeah, I went back because I wanted to find out what was going on between both sides.
Right.
So I flip-flopped around. I went to what was called Team eBay, which was a name that was I think Doc came up with, or
Yeah,
someone
they
came up
they
with
literally just nicknamed us because some of us do not work for eBay. I don't sell on eBay, and I let the record straight to know that I do not have an account on eBay. So if Ebayisajoke is looking for me, he ain't gonna find me. He's not
it.
gonna
Right.
find me because I don't deal with that stuff. And even if he wasn't on there, I wouldn't deal with him because I know sometimes there's a lot of other scammers out there that are pulling the same crap but getting caught, and they're told to back off, and they're staying back off. They backing off. Not Ebayisajoke. Oh no, he will continue to fight, no matter how many he thinks he's right. He's gonna fight.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He never really says that he's doing anything wrong. Even after he was exposed on the news, and when I was threatened to be on the news, I was like, "Dude, you were on the news," and I was
Yeah.
threatened to go with you. And then actually, Pete actually got me out of it. He's like, either you stop or you're going to be on the news with the big guy, coming soon.
And then
like, I'm just warning you.
And he's
like,
dead
you better
serious
just
about it.
stop.
Right. Yeah. Here's a question that Joe poses. Says, if Ebayisajoke told you to jump off the Brooklyn Bridge, would you do it?
No, sir.
Okay, that came out of left
I know
field.
that Joe's mad for what I've done, and I feel bad for the stuff that I said.
Yeah, I would think so too. But I've told Joe in numerous conversations since we've been talking that I think you're finally realizing that it's not worth going to jail for, because you could have went to jail if you stuck with him, because you're an accomplice to that criminal. Both you and Doc would have been accomplices if you would have stuck with this.
It's correct.
And we know. Well, Doc's got nothing to lose. He's an old man. He's retired, and jail time for him. I mean, but I know you're still a working guy with a life, 2 jobs, and lots of internet hobbies, and you're working hard to try to keep legit. It's very difficult, I know.
Right, and that's the thing. I didn't want to go down and lose any relationships I had with people online that saw what was going on. They're like, well, if you're going to be doing this, then I'm not going to buy from you. That actually happened. I lost quite a few sales from everything that was going on.
Mm-hmm. And what's this thing that he keeps talking about with lithium technologies? Can you explain what lithium technologies is and why he keeps blaming them for
I really
DDoSing
haven't been up to date with lithium technologies. All I know is they have something to do with eBay, or maybe some kind of security, or I'm not really sure what they do.
Mm-hmm.
I actually tried calling them to find out what they do, and they won't give you phone. They won't take phone calls.
So why do you think eBay is not prosecuting Ebayisajoke for this, considering the fact that there's so many complaints going out, so many people are getting scammed and frauded out of money, especially Joe himself, and this thing's been going on for 2.5 years. Now tacked me into it for cyber stalking, harassment. You've been harassed too yourself. You have been threatened. In fact, we've all been threatened, and we're plumb sick and tired of it. And the only person who seems to have any jurisdiction over any of us is Rob Walchek, because he got doxxed by Ebayisajoke, sent out 3 police officers to send him a warning, but they should have arrested him right then and there.
That they should have had.
They were right there. They could have done it. I mean,
They actually should have at least brought him in for questioning.
exactly. But they stood out there, and he filmed it. He filmed it.
Exactly.
You're basically, it's almost like he wants to get caught, yet he thinks he's immune to the system.
No, I wouldn't say he's immune to the system. The system's already come to him, and he's got his warning from being on the news, and then he got his warning from Walchek being on his website, which has a restraining order, I think, on him, or some kind of order of restriction on him, and told him not to do it anymore.
Right. But he's still doing it, even if he's
still
not
doing it.
even if he's still not
too,
directly
because
doing it against Rob Walchek, he's still doing it against me. He's still doing it
Right.
against Joe, Matt, Pete, you. He could even have done it to Ed, but Ed kind of like is not believing any of this stuff.
Oh,
Okay?
he already did it to Ed. There is, and I'm not going to show anybody because I want Ed to start Googling it since he's such a webmaster. He put an article out on him about him scamming people on eBay with his cars last year.
Yeah.
8 months ago when he started following Doc, because him and Doc actually did get in a confrontation quite a few times.
Which wouldn't surprise me one bit. Would not surprise me one bit.
So what he does is he makes his enemies, even though you try to talk to him and say, hey, why don't you just stop doing this, go on your way with business, and quit harassing people, and then he'll completely do a 360 on it. Say, oh, well, since you're against me, I'm going to put you on my website, I'm going to put your address out, I'm going to find everything about you and ruin you. That's what he told me.
Yeah.
I was like, you go right ahead, because that just proves what you did to Joe.
And I also got a call from the Canton Police Department at like 10:30 in the morning from a detective with the so-called physical threat of putting a bullet to his head. Yeah, right. I don't own a gun.
That was amped up. I listened to it I did what's called an audio. I have an audio fixer on my computer software.
Mm-hmm.
And I amped it up, and it didn't, to me, even amped up, it didn't sound like anything of what they were talking about. Like, They said, oh, you threatened him with a bullet. I was like, he didn't even say that. I really did listen to your conversation, and you made the dog sounds and everything in between that.
Right.
And then when you came back today, I said bone, not bullet. But, yeah, that's exactly what it sounded like.
Right. Now, in your opinion, Keith, because if you watched from our Stop Cyberbullying Now channel, in your opinion, do you think that me and Joe have a legitimate case, not on an eBay PayPal issues, but of the 5 issues we've been talking about for the last, I would say, since a year and a half? That's defamation, stalking, harassment, bullying, and threatening, pretty much. I mean, could we get him just on what he's saying if we documented it like Doc is?
Oh yeah, I definitely think you guys definitely have a harassment case against him.
I think so.
Yeah, more than that.
Yeah, and let me
you guys. I mean, honestly, I think the book could be thrown at him at this point.
Oh, I know.
Because the only reason I got in on you in the beginning was because Ebayisajoke said that Joe was paying you money to come after him. And I just thought, I was like, what do you mean? I didn't know who you were at the time.
Yeah.
You just came out of nowhere and said that Ebayisajoke was going to be exposed for all the stuff that he does to people.
Right.
Then I started backtracking all your guys' information that I was being given. And I was like, wow, this guy's been all over the internet harassing people. Not just Joe, which all the stuff he said he never did. I was like, what do you mean you never did it? I was like, Chuck, it's right here, right in front of me, right now. All the information you said that you didn't do is on this one website I found called ChuckFinchScammer.com. And that's
right.
When he woke up and said, what do you mean there's a website out on me? I was like, yeah, it's right here.
And we're not kidding you. And that's when he started doing the websites of Stop Internet Fraud Team, eBay Blows, and the new one, JasonDecanioBully.com, which I'm very, very pissed off with, and I'm going to sue him for damages on that. 20 grand. You make money off of me. You don't have my consent. You're going to be sued. But first, let's get you criminally prosecuted.
You can't do a common lawsuit against him on that.
Yeah, because
that's rude.
It's
eBay Stealth Guide he put out was stolen from another eBay forum for eBay Stealth. He wrote that guide off of someone else's material that he's trying to promote to get people on eBay using the IP proxies.
Right, right.
But you can't do it. You can't really use that. You have to have a dedicated host account server to do it correctly.
Yeah. And I really liked your video that you put out a couple days ago of how to report websites that were harassing you.
Right.
in that. Very good information on that. That should be a given out there, friends. You know, if you are physically harassed, well, not physically harassed, but if you're harassed by a website,